Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Money Talks, where we will be discussing sales and the sales struggles that people will experience, and also how to use sales strategies to make your business grow. So, I'm obviously joined by my amazing co-host, JT. Say hello.
Hate him to say that.
He did. So we are going to discuss some really cool things with you guys today, including the things you should definitely not do if you want to be successful in business, because we find that a lot of people tend not to discuss this topic for whatever reason. So we thought that we would actually be the ones to do it. So prior to obviously doing all of this, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Asen Kirilov. I represent GENSPI, and my amazing co-host is Jedediah Thomas, who represents the Online Wealth Machine. And we have joined forces on this podcast, videocast, video, however this is coming across to you guys, to provide you with helpful tools, tips, tricks, strategies, formulas, ideas, and all sorts of content that you could use to help better your marketing journey and financial endeavors. Basically giving you shortcuts along the way. So if you have never heard of us before, this is going to be a really cool episode for you guys to check out. So stay tuned, because there's a lot more to follow. We are going to begin with some sales struggles, which I believe my co-host has some to share with. So go for it, JT.
Oh yeah, so we'll just start kind of generally things that people do wrong in sales. Sales is a word that is kicked around in every aspect of your life, and people don't even know what selling is. They hear the word selling, they hear the word closing. You know, everyone says always be closing, always be selling, all these things, and they're like buzzwords, and nobody has a clue what that actually means. And so we're going to go over, that things that are taught wrong. We're going to go over a little bit about, things that I have experienced in sales that were nightmares as a result of doing it the wrong way. And then we're going to go over a little bit into, how I found what I consider the best sales process on the planet, and it's really, 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 really good. And then a little bit about the strategies and importance of sales and business. That was a mouthful. So do you have any questions? Like, have you seen anything like salespeople doing the wrong thing, and then I can kind of comment on that, or you just want me to just throw it out there to the world?
Quite honestly, I mean, in all the experience that I've had in sales, I have seen a lot of mistakes. And I'm not just talking punctuality, I'm talking about the different type of stupid strategies that people tend to use to be able to generate even a little bit of minuscule profit. And the fact of the matter is, if you're not using the correct strategies to be able to actually sell to people, which a lot of which I find is more psychologically based, you need to be able to connect with people on an emotional basis if you're trying to sell something to them, because in our day-to-day lives, passively, we're consuming content pretty much all the time, other than when you're asleep. So realistically, every single type of content that we see in a way, shape, or form is actually a sales advert. If you think about it, if it's, say, for example, a car, branding in general can be used as a selling strategy. So these are the type of things that a lot of people don't know how to use properly, which JT will actually fill you guys in on. But we do want to kind of touch on the type of things that people are doing wrong as well, mainly because we want you guys to have a very clear cut picture of how you can do things to be able to actually generate profit the right way, other than trying to spend months and years and all of your time that you have on this amazing planet of ours that we call Earth, and have nothing to show for it. if you're trying to concentrate on using strategies that don't work, then what would be the point in doing it? How would you get any sales? These are the type of questions you need to ask yourself. So this is why we're here. We're trying to teach you the right things to do, the right strategies to use, but we are going to start with some of the things and some of the things that we have seen, gone through, and actually experienced ourselves. Mainly JT, because he's got some amazing stories for you guys to share, so that you don't repeat these type of mistakes. So I'm gonna let JT crack on. Personally, I do have one question, and that is, what is the least and the worst experience that you have had in regards to sales?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. Let me start off from the top. First of all, we'll talk about the definition of closing in sales. Okay, the definition of closing. Get a notebook, write this down. This will fix like 90% of your problems. The definition of closing is the exact moment when your customer knows you, likes you, and trusts you enough and wants your product bad enough to exchange their hard-earned money for your product or service.
It's like that little sweet spot that you're looking for.
Well, it's like, you know, it's what every salesperson is trying to get to, and there's kind of a misnomer definition of closing, which I'll get into. And then selling, the definition of selling is every action or inaction that leads to that point of the close.
Cool. Let's dig right into it.
There's things you should not be doing.
Let's start with the things that you should not be doing. Let's start with that, because I think that's a very important point that people need to have and understand, so that they don't end up being in that particular situation themselves.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the sales model I was originally taught and that I've seen in basically every sales job I've ever had, and it's wrong. Mm-hmm. Basically, I'm going to give it my own name. I'm going to call it the son of a pitch model.
Whoa.
Because by the time you're done, you know, your customer will hate you so much they think you're a son of a pitch.
I tell you what, that's a great name. You should copyright that right now.
Right.
That's a great name.
It's unofficially copyrighted. If you see this video, it's too late. I've certified mailed it to myself. All right. So the whole idea of that sales model is that you go in, you know, you build some bullcrap rapport, like you spend 15 minutes talking about their cat or the painting on their wall or some other just absolutely ridiculous stuff that every other salesperson on the planet does, mm-hmm. thinking that, you know, they're getting a special in with people. Yeah. And then you go into your pitch, and then mm-hmm. at the end of the pitch, basically you expect them to buy, and if for some reason they don't buy, then you're shocked beyond all mortal belief, and then you go into so-called closing. Mm-hmm. And there's entire books about the word like closes for this situation, closes for that situation. I actually mentioned one a couple episodes back about the Ben Franklin close. No, that was actually in my Messenger mastermind. We'll talk about that later. But it's basically you go down and you have like buy my product, not buy my product, and you list all the logical reasons why it's a good idea to buy your product, and you list like the 4 things, and you end up with like 100 reasons, and it eventually tricks people into buying through logic alone, and that doesn't really work. And then you have all these other ridiculous closes, like they come down to basically falling on your knees and begging your customer to buy. Wow. or you're threatening them. Like it gets really bad, and the whole the problem is that those are different ways to ask for the order, but that's not really how you close somebody. No. And so the overall philosophy is wrong. So it's like you memorize 7 or 8 of these different closing methods, and then you beat someone over the head until they just like, they either call the police on you or buy. Yeah. And even if they do buy, as soon as you walk out the door, they're going to cancel because they hate you. And that's absolutely wrong. Okay. Asen, have you ever seen someone use that model?
No, but you know what just popped into my head? You know Wolf of Wall Street, right? You know, after he got canned in the beginning, and he ended up going into that investor center that he was introduced to penny stocks, right? The idea when he started speaking to his first customer, and why everybody was all around him looking and listening to him like he was some sort of god, right? It's because he took all of the knowledge that he had from Wall Street, brought it into this tiny little town that nobody had any idea how to sell, managed to close a deal that made him $2,000 in literally less than 5 minutes, right? This is the difference. If you were one of these general schmoes and you think that your strategies are working, there's no point in continuing to watch this video. But if you're someone that actually wants to become better and wants to be able to make a difference for yourself, mainly because everybody that's watching this video is probably doing it for themselves, if not for their families, you know, and things like that. The difference in that, and the reason why I'm mentioning that particular story, is because he took the knowledge that he had, he took the experience that he had from Wall Street, brought it into that particular office and managed to complete that deal in less than 5 minutes, because he was speaking to people from a completely different breed. Okay, people that have never had that type of experience. If you have the right strategy, if you know exactly the right things to say, then you will get a sale every single time, whether it's on the phone, whether it's speaking face to face to someone, or on a Zoom call, or however it is. It doesn't really matter. The fact is that if you have the knowledge, you have, even if you have a script, whether that script works or not, that's debatable. But if you have the right tools, you'll be able to get the right results. If you don't have the tools, you ain't gonna have any results. That's the simple fact of the matter.
Well, you know, as they say, it's not the size of your script, it's how you use it, baby.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, no,
sorry,
that is a great scene. Like I love that scene, and I'm going to talk about that more later on. So that's one sales model, the son of a bitch sales model. You come across as a complete jerk. Then the other common sales model, which is kind of a more common one that I've known about, briefly dipped into, is like personality-based selling. So the idea is that you have different types of personalities of people, and you kind of cater your presentation to that person.
Right.
And that can be effective. I mean, part of sales is like mirroring, and with sales, you want to be like the other person. You know, they like you because you are like them. You know, you're like one of a kind.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're just best buddies, not in the normal sense, but they have an instant connection with you, instant rapport, because you're just like them and you really care about them. And that is so crucial. The problem with that system is that you have to learn 4 separate, or more, depending on how many personalities they have, 4 separate systems to sell different type of people. And so you're doing 4 times the work trying to learn, you know, how to sell, when you could just learn one system that sells everybody.
Yeah. So if you guys don't want to be a raging schizophrenic, then by all means, please do not use this strategy.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. It's just more work than you need to do to be effective. Basically, like if you want to be a psychologist, by all means, you know, learn about the personalities. But if you're wanting to sell and become, you know, a $1 million or multi-million-dollar salesperson, which is entirely possible and easy to do if you do it the right way, it's you know, extra. You don't need to know all of that stuff, honestly.
Absolutely, of course. Anyway, right. Go. You're on a roll, baby.
I'm rolling, man. You see the biscuits coming out? All right, so, and then the last thing I want to cover is rapport. Rapport is so misunderstood, and I did briefly cover it, which is, you know, you talk about someone's cat for, you know, 15 minutes, but it can get ridiculous. Like someone talks about duck hunting, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you know, my great grandfather was a duck hunter for like a century, and then you spent 45 minutes talking about all this crap that has nothing to do with the sale. You have not gotten anywhere closer to the sale. You have wasted your prospect's time, and they think you're an idiot.
Yep. People do this. People do this.
They honestly do, and it is unbelievably ridiculous because a true expert, if you remember back many episodes, I talked about, you know, the doctor coming in and, you know, doing what the doctors do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we remember the doctors.
You have to come across as an expert, and an expert does not waste your time.
Mm-hmm. An
expert's time is valuable. If you are wasting time, you are immediately disqualified as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
Because an expert has zero time because they're dealing with so many problems effectively.
That's correct. Let me ask you a quick question. How do you deal with objections?
That's a great question. So that goes back into, that's more the right way to sell. Let's let me share some experiences I had when selling, and then I will go into the right way to sell. That's a great question. All right, so my first sales job was home water systems. Like they did something like ionizing the water or something like that. Like they call it refined water, and it was basically a water softener. And it was like a $10,000 system, and I would go to people's houses. I'd have, you know, 2 appointments a night, and each presentation was like an hour and 45 minutes long.
Damn.
An hour and 45 freaking minutes long.
Damn. Wow.
And I was supposed to sell these water systems, and I actually sold probably about 20 of them in the 3 months that I was working there. Unfortunately, this was right after the American credit crisis, and all of their credit got declined. So the entire time I was working there, of all the sales I made like $212, and that was it. For 3 months of work, that's all I made. And so that wasn't even the worst of it. So anyways, I was taught, you know, the son of a pitch sales model, and I had this just long freaking script. Jesus. And I had to memorize word for word. This was a packet. It was like 40 pages or something. It was absolutely absurd. I had to literally memorize the entire packet in a week. I could have been a freaking actor with that kind of skill. Like what?
Like why? Though why would someone put themselves
I'm telling
through
you
this?
my experience. I don't know why. Dude, that's like the old sales model. You just like overwhelm them with all this crap and somehow they buy, and it just doesn't work. But anyways, of the experiences I had, I remember one presentation was so long. The people, it was like, it ended up at 11:30 at night, and the people were literally standing in the kitchen listening to me rattle on this script, and they were falling asleep while they were standing up.
Jesus Christ.
So that's you know,
that's
you know,
ridiculous.
me not knowing any better. I had a really terrible manager, a very, very bad manager. I didn't know any better. So he would say, okay, you know, line up the pitch, you go through the whole script, you know, the hour something minutes of it, and then call me and I will close them. I said, great, because I don't know what this closing thing is, and all you've given me is a script and really nothing else about that. It was an entry-level sales job. I didn't know what sales was.
Right. Okay.
And so I would call him, and then he would try, which, you know, he wasn't nearly as good as he thought he was, and he would get upset at me. So he'd be sitting there screaming at me over the phone, swearing at me, and so loud the customers could hear it. And they were like, your boss is a complete hole. And I'm like, I'm so sorry about this. Like, I don't know what to do about this. Like,
Jesus.
Like, this is what I was told to do, and this is what is happening. I don't understand what's going on. And, you know, along with that job, I was, it was bad.
Crazy.
It was bad, man. And like, I didn't know how bad it was until I learned the right way to sell. That's like, you know, we'll get to that, but
Jesus.
I guess I processed some of the emotions from this job. Like, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened. There was,
it sounds like
he said, never park in the people's driveway. You know, you always park across the street and like 2 houses down. So that's what I always did. And so I did one presentation. I come out, my car got towed. So I had to pay several $100s to get my car back. You know, that was more than I made in money in that 3-month period, just getting my car back.
Oh my days. See, this is the type of stuff that there's a reason why we tell you these stories, okay? don't go through this. Don't go through this yourselves. This is the reason why. Okay, so steer clear of situations like this if you can help it. Okay.
Right. And I want to impress upon people, if you've ever had a salesperson do something like this to you, it's 99% chance it's not the salesperson's fault. It's probably they have a crappy sales manager that doesn't know how to sell. And the only reason they became a sales manager is because they accidentally sold more than everyone else who sucked. And they can't teach it because they don't have a systemized process. So you have these salespeople that are relying on their job to do what their manager tells them to do, or they get fired, and their manager is an idiot. So don't blame it on the salesperson. It's probably not their fault. You just have an unfortunate bearer of bad news that got sent to you.
Absolutely. So now that we've kind of experienced that particular side of the sales industry itself, let's kind of focus into the right way to do things.
Okay.
Give people an idea.
That is coming next. I will talk about how I found the right way to sell, because I've been in sales 10 years and it's only in the last maybe 8 months that I found the right way to sell. I sucked at it. Like the entire 9 and something years before that, I maybe made $1,000 in sales, despite being full-time a lot of that time. Right. Like I was a full-time salesperson and I could not sell to save my life. And I had so many different jobs, so many different managers, and it just didn't work. So anyways, to fix that problem, I wasn't just, sitting on my rear end. I was buying courses, buying books, buying everything I could, going to seminars, trying to figure out what is this mysterious thing called selling and how do I do it? And why am I not good at it? And so I ended up getting one of the gurus that I started following is a major marketer, very, very well known. He has books, he's got tapes, he's got seminars, he's got everything. And I got several of his books. I enrolled in an online university of him, and I was following his method. And he also taught the son of a pitch method. But his thing was all about different closing. So he has like a whole book on different, I call it the book of crap closes because it's terrible. But I thought that was the right way because that's all I knew. Okay. Yeah. And I thought he's the best at that method, and that's the only method I know about. And so therefore he must be the best. Yeah. And so he ended up getting on a podcast, very much like we're doing like an interview with the actual Wolf of Wall Street, like we were talking about. Right. And the Wolf of Wall Street I was like, who's this joker that thinks he's a salesperson? He's gonna, my guy's gonna tear him apart. And, my guy's gonna like beat the heck out of him because who is this other joker? And then Jordan, the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, he was so professional, so put together, so suave, so expert in every word he said, his body language, his tonality, everything. And my guy, my guru, who I had all these books from, who I had, gone to seminars, had all the tapes and the university, he was so bad. Like, he was like, I don't even like sales, and then Jordan was like, okay, well, you used to do door to door. And it's like, well, what was your script that you used? And he's like, I just go up, knock on the door and say, I got fish. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, this is crap. And my guy looked like, a complete petulant child or a drug addict or something. Like, it was, oh my God, it was so bad. So they ended up just like stopped talking about sales and started talking about real estate or something. Like, if you've seen this interview, you know how bad it is, but I'm not going to say the name, because I'm not going to blame people. But oh my God, that was the moment I finished that interview. I canceled my university subscription. I said, look, I'm going to learn from Jordan Belfort. Forget this other clown. I'm going to learn from the best because this guy really knows what's going on. So I ordered his book. When I got his book, which is called The Way of the Wolf, that book, I read that book. I understood immediately every single problem I ever had with sales. Right. Nobody could ever tell me what I was doing wrong, and that book explained it exactly. I was so shocked that there was a process behind sales that actually worked.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was blown out of my mind. I've been talking for like 20 minutes. What do you have to say, Asen?
Dude, quite honestly, I'm kind of like intrigued to know more. So I'm just chilling, just
all right, cool.
You fly, so carry on.
Cool. So man, yeah, you mentioned, the scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where Leonardo DiCaprio actually was coached by Jordan Belfort to have the correct tonality for that scene, the correct scripting for that scene, and that's why he looked so good. But if you've ever seen Jordan Belfort speak, and then you put Leonardo DiCaprio right next to him, even though Leonardo is so much better than everyone else, Jordan is like light years beyond Leonardo. And I think Leonardo's probably like one of the best actors out there, but Jordan is a freaking killer. The second you hear him open his mouth, he's getting that sale. Yeah. And like there is no question about that.
It really boils down to the simple strategy of, if anybody has never actually seen The Wolf of Wall Street, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, there is a scene which the movie and the book, every story about Jordan is famous for, and it's the pen, isn't it? It's selling the pen. The pen story is such an amazing story because it really boils down to the simplicity of sales. Because in reality, you could literally sell anything if you knew this particular strategy. And the pen is just an item. It doesn't really represent anything, but I think JT will actually tell this better.
Yes, I'm like hopping out of my seat here.
Go for it.
Okay, so if you've only seen the movie and you've never read the book, you don't know the pen story. Okay? Like the movie gets it wrong. And it's like, oh, sell me this pen, and they come up with some kind of son of a bitch bull crap to trick people to buy the pen, which is not how you do it. Okay, so the real story of the pen from The Way of the Wolf, and Jordan's partner, I don't know if he called him his name by the movie, I'll just use the movie name, Donnie comes in, and he's got like a new employee there, and he's doing an interview. He's like, well, you're a good salesperson, sell me this pen. And he's trying to, oh, this is the greatest pen, all this stuff, like the son of a pitch method. And like, he's like, no, this is crap. And he hands Donnie the pen, and he's like, Donnie, sell me this pen. And Donnie says, hey, Jordan, how long have you been in the market for pens? And he says, I'm not, I don't use pens. I don't even own one. Like, I have no use for them. And he's like, thanks, have a great day, sir, bye.
That's it. It's that simple.
Done. Like, you don't waste your time. You don't waste your time pitching unqualified prospects. Absolutely. You do not. Like that. That is a major turning point in sales. Like you go through this entire qualification process of asking people, details and getting their financial information and all this other details about them to see if you even want to waste your time with them. And if you don't, get out of there.
That's it.
Which was like I was taught was anything on 2 or 4 legs that has a heartbeat you try and sell to, and it's so wrong. Oh my god, it's so wrong. I had one situation. I was using a different close book. It was another book of closes. This was like the safety deposit box close, and I went through my pitch and I was trying this one. It was like, there was a warning on this close. It was like, do not use this close will elicit a reaction from your customer. Do not say this close unless you are 1 foot out the door and out of striking distance.
Really?
So this whole idea was that, it's like, you're going to fill out this form. I'm not going to put it in. You didn't buy the product. You're going to buy a safety deposit box at the bank, and you're going to put this form in the bank. And then in 20 years, when your little girl is wanting to go through college, you're going to pull this out and realize all of the money that you could have saved to put her through college was right here on this form, and you didn't buy it. And this, like the girl, the wife was in tears. This guy was screaming. The little girl like ran to her room to get a coin bucket to like pay for the. Like, oh my god, I thought I was gonna get arrested or something. And like my manager found out, and they're like, you did great. This is what we always wanted for you. I'm like, you guys are insane. You're absolutely freaking nuts. Like, this is not how you treat people. And like, that's why people get, salespeople get bad names. That's why people hate salespeople, because that's how they're taught to sell.
Jesus Christ.
Oh
seriously.
my God.
Oh my days. That is obnoxiously ridiculous. What?
Can you tell I'm passionate about sales?
Yes. And that's exactly why we wanted to discuss this topic with you guys, because this is the type of stuff that you will not see, you will not hear about, you will not hear someone discussing, you know. That's why we wanted to make this specific episode, to show you guys that the possibilities are endless. Right, okay.
All right, yeah. So I want to say, Jordan Belfort's system is the system that I use. He has the straight line sales system. And, you know, you'll get a ton of value from the book just understanding what a sale is, the anatomy of the sale, like what to do, what not to do. It's a great introduction to sales. The problem is that his system relies very heavily on tonality and body language, which is not something you can communicate in a book. So if you want to learn his system, you actually do need to invest in one of his courses, but it's well worth it. I mean, like, one of them is like $15,000 or something, but it's worth every freaking penny. Yeah, like the people go through this course. Actually, his stockbrokers, if you saw the movie, you knew how bad they were. High school dropouts, drug addicts, people you would not, you know, give $1 to if you saw them. They were going in and closing multi-million-dollar deals over the phone with people they had never seen before, never heard of. They never heard of their brokerage before, using Jordan's system. And so he can take anyone, no matter how bad you are, no matter if you've never heard of selling in your life, and make you into a top-tier professional. I'm talking about the people that are selling millions of dollars a year. Like, he was up to, what, $49 million a year? Before he got, you know, in trouble with the law and whatnot. But it's not because he was doing illegal activity. It's because he was so freaking good at selling. That is his gift to the world. Like, he's one of my idols, not because of what he did wrong, but because he actually knows his stuff. He knows what the heck he's doing. And it basically takes every sale and makes it the same. You don't have to learn different closes. You don't have to learn different personalities. You learn one system, one continuous system that's extremely powerful, and one script, and you use that and you close like everybody that you come across that's qualified.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to learn from the best. So cool. Right. So I feel like we kind of are a bit strapped for time. So we want to kind of delve into some strategies for you guys, and actually more so the right way to do things. So we've managed to discuss so far, as a little bit of a recap, we've managed to discuss how not to use sales, how not to do sales, and what not to do, period. Okay, so let's discuss ways that you can focus on that will actually work for you guys.
Okay, now I will start with the qualification that this is talking about in-person sales, because messenger sales is completely different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All sales are exactly the same, but messenger sales is completely different. I did, if you're interested, a messenger mastermind that will be released in my group for free when we reach 100 members. So if you're interested in that, definitely join, invite people, and that will get released to the general public inside my group. But here on the call, I just want to go over a little bit of in-person selling. Tonality and body language is key. Obviously, we've talked about that. The number one thing is you want to be seen as an expert. You want to show that you care, and you have to have a company, a product that's, you know, good, ideally. Like, it should be good. If not, you should quit your job and find a product that's actually good. But what you have to realize is, from the moment you walk in the door, before they even see you, you are selling.
Absolutely.
How you carry yourself, how you look, everything about that, you are selling. But the sale does not begin until they say no the first time.
Oh yeah. This is a nifty little trick.
This is totally opposite of the son of a pitch method. They say you do the pitch, and then you go into this battering ram of closes, and then they're convinced to buy, and that's not reality. So Jordan's system is like, you know, you have several different scripts. You have your like introductory script, and then when they say no, when you ask the order, they say no, you actually go into your secondary script, and you have scripts, because it's not, sales is an erosion process, okay? It's not something that happens at once, no matter how good your script is, because you're running up against people's limiting buying beliefs. And so it's almost like picking a lock. You know, you can't give your best material up front. You have to slowly work your way through it, and then you hit a tumbler, and then, okay, you go back, and then you work on the next tumbler. You go back and you work on the next tumbler until they buy.
That's it. It's all a little bit of a guessing game, but it's worth it in the end.
Well, it's not a guessing game if you have a properly tried and true tested script, which no salesperson should be without.
Some of this can
I'm not talking about an hour and 45-minute long script. I'm talking about one that works.
Definitely not. This
But let me ask you this. Okay, you go into someone's house and you present your product, and that product, like, they are head over heels loving your product. It's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, they're calling their friends for money to afford the product. Will they buy from you?
If you're already at that stage, then yes.
No, they won't.
Why not?
Okay, let's say, second scenario, same with that. They love your product, best thing since sliced bread, and they think that you are the most honest, trustworthy, professional person on the planet, and you have their best interest in mind. Will they buy?
For the sake of this exercise, let's say no.
You learn quickly. Okay, let's say both of those are true, and you know, that product is the best thing since sliced bread. You are the most trustworthy, honest person. You care about them, and your company is respectable, has been around a while, has serviced a lot of customers, and it's a company they can really trust in to take care of their best interest. Will they buy?
I really feel the need to say yes, but I think I'm going to stick with no.
Good, awesome. Because no matter, those are critical appointments. If you don't have those, they will not buy. If they think you're a jerk, if they think you're dishonest, not trustworthy, they're not going to buy, no matter how much they love the product. If you know they don't think your company is trustworthy, they like you, they like your product, but they're going to be like, no, you need to get a new company because your company sucks. Or they could just say, well, your product is crap. I don't get out of my house, you know? Right, so you have to have all three of those. But the reason why you can't do one script and go to the, like, close everybody is because of limited buying beliefs, limiting. You have to work through those, and that's not something that happens all at once. It is an erosion process, and you're going through that entire process in the sales call. Excuse me. And this goes back to your question earlier about how to handle objections. Now, the common method is every time they have an objection, it's, oh, I have to talk to my wife. You say, what do you have to talk to your wife about, sir? And you get in your face like you know their relationship better than they do. Or, oh, I have to call my accountant, or it's not the best time of year. And you're like, you have all these canned responses, which makes you come across as a complete jerk. Yeah. And it doesn't work. It completely shuts them off and you don't get the sale. What does work is realizing that when someone has an objection, it's because they're either not 100% sold on your product, they're not 100% sold on you, they're not 100% sold on your company, or they have limited buying beliefs. And the whole idea is to go back and you just keep working those until they're at 100%, 100%, 100%, ding, boom, they bought.
That's it. That's it. And it's not even about finances at the end of the day, if you think about it. It's about exactly what JT said. Even though you could have all of these things, they will always have that belief, because people do not like, and this goes for everyone. There is no person that, if you were a salesperson and you knock on somebody's door, the moment they open that door, they're already skeptical about what it is that you're trying to achieve. So they've already got this built up idea. Like it's more or less the fact that if you guys have ever gone through this, someone knocks on your door, you open the door, and it's a bunch of Bible salesmen, right? How many times have you had that experience and you go, in the back of your mind, you really like, I just want to shut this door. That's the whole point that JT is trying to put across, because in reality, no one wants to be sold, okay? You have to make the client believe that they want this product from you, or that they even need the product more so than want it. If you can achieve that, you can achieve a sale. Am I right?
Right, but it has to be done elegantly and with class, because otherwise you will never be more than one of the skeevy used car salesmen that everybody
Absolutely.
associates with. If you can master what I'm talking about, like learn from Jordan, however you want, or even just this podcast, I've given quite a lot of information. If you can learn that, really learn it, you will be top tier investment banker, mortgage broker, like insurance broker, anything like top tier. You think the top producers in any industry have mastered this.
Absolutely.
Okay, they know what a sale is, they know how to close people, and they know how to do it in such a way that they become friends with their client and they give them massive referrals.
Absolutely.
Referrals.
And
like that's where your business grows.
These are all transferable skills. This doesn't need to even be applied to sales per se. You could take all of the information that we're providing you guys and utilize it in completely different ways. Okay, once you know how to actually sell something to someone by using these particular type of strategies, you'll be able to achieve a lot more. This is why we do what we do, because we're constantly trying to provide you easier ways to do and achieve things in your lifespan. Like the struggles that you could be going through are absolutely unnecessary if you know how to go around it and what it is that you can do to be able to avoid them.
Right. So, as Jordan likes to say, having more money doesn't solve your problems. In fact, you'll have more problems. The difference is you show up to your problems in style with a $4,000 suit and a $30,000 watch and a $100,000 limousine. How would you like that?
That's it. That's it. At that point, your problems will be very, very minuscule.
All right. So, man, we covered a lot. I do want to say before we log off, I cannot stress enough the importance of the difference between messenger sales and in-person sales. What I was talking about was in-person sales. You have to have a script. You cannot use a script for messenger sales, okay? That it's a completely different way of selling with the exact same goals, same, milestones as in-person sales, but you have to do it a different way. So if you're interested in learning that, definitely get onto my Facebook group, the Online Wealth Machine. And like I said, once we have 100 members, we'll release that to the public, and it's going to be very powerful information, just as good as this, but strictly applied to messenger sales.
So one last thing, which kind of just popped into my head. If you were to utilize or had the opportunity to use the three ways of sales, one being messenger, one being in person, and one being over the phone, which one do you think would be most effective?
Depends on how good of shape you're in. Like if you're really good to walk 100, I used to do solar sales, I used to do insurance sales and vacuum sales door to door. You have to be in really good shape to do that. You're hitting a couple hundred houses a day. If you can't do that physically, which is a reason why I wasn't able to do it, then you have to do something either messenger or phone sales. Phone sales, if you're good with your tonality, can be extremely effective. It's just get a list of like 500 people, cold call through all of them. You can go from zero to massive income very quickly. The difference with messenger sales is that you have the benefit of a kind of bio, like your profile helps sell. So if you don't like talking, if you're more introverted type, maybe messenger sales is more your thing. If you can master any leg of sales, you're going to be a millionaire, hands down. That is like the best skill you can learn in life, period. It'll help you with your job. It'll help you with your relationships, your kids, your business, your selling, everything. It is communication, persuasive communication at its core. So whichever route of sales you choose, learn how to do it the right way. It will change your life.
Great advice there. Great advice. Hope you guys are still with us, and I hope you're listening, because these are gems that we'll be dropping all the time from here onward. But unfortunately, we have run out of time. So we will have to say adieu, and hopefully you guys can catch us on our next episode, where we will be discussing the focus, mindset, and preparation. Okay.
Do we have some interviews coming up?
We do, but the actual episode that we will be discussing, me and JT will be discussing, will be focused on that. Okay, 3 very vital points that you guys need to think about and concentrate on, which is, like I mentioned, focus, mindset, and preparation.
And
we can also talk about
unofficially, since he doesn't want to talk about it, we have some interviews coming up with some really high-powered individuals, which will be interspersed throughout our quote official episodes for more added value, mayhem, and awesomeness.
Absolutely. And if you guys are lucky enough, we may even release one during the week for you. It really depends. We'll see. But you got to stay tuned to find out. So in the meantime,
you're getting crazy now.
Well, we got to give the public what they want, dude. So at the end of the day, that's why we do what we do. We do it because
that's fine. I'm not going to give you what you want.
Well, listen, let's not go talking about your nipples again, okay? But it's been a pleasure as always. My name is Jason Kirillov from GENSPI, with my amazing co-host Jedediah Thomas from Online Wealth Machine. Check us out. We're on all the platforms, guys. And if you are watching us on YouTube or any platform that you can subscribe on or listen to, please do so. I'm sure it's somewhere along the screen. You'll be able to find it easily. In the meantime, stay safe, and we shall see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Peace.